ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। In the 8th shloka, Acharya mentioned that having taken karma sannyasa, one should dwell on Shastra. And with the help of Acharya, this is to be understood. So with the help of Shastra and Acharya, one should dwell on Shastra. Because now all the Nitya Naimitika karmas, Kamya karmas, Nishiddha karmas, all are dropped. There are 5 types of karmas. Majority of our time goes in Kamya karma, desire prompted karma. When these karmas are dropped, all I am left with is Nitya Naimittika karma, the obligatory duties and the occasional situation based obligatory duties, Nitya and Naimittika karma. And if I do anything which is prohibited, then those karmas are called Nishiddha karmas. And for atonement of Nishiddha karma, I have to do Prayashchitta karma. For a seeker who is also a householder, it is said first they should give up Nishiddha karma, prohibited actions. When they are dropped, then there is no need to do any atonement. So there is no Prayashchitta karma. And then it is said you reduce your Kamya karmas, desire prompted actions, so that you will have more and more time. But if somebody wants to study the scriptures and dwell on scriptures full time, then for them it is said you can formally take renunciation with the approval of your family and the Acharya as per injunctions of the scriptures, Vedas. So there is approval from family, approval from Acharya, and also approval from Veda. So everybody would love this, that I don't have any duties anymore. The moment one takes karma sannyasa from the worldly responsibilities and the do's and don'ts as far as the Vedic karmas are concerned, immediately the Acharya under whom you are going to study Shastras will give other set of rules, which will be like you have to wake up at 4 o'clock because you are staying in ashram now, so you have to wake up at 4 o'clock. Then you have to attend Vedic recitation early in the morning at 5:15, 5:30, and the attendance is compulsory in the morning session. Then there will be Vedanta discourses, which also you will have to attend. You have to do seva in the ashram. Then you have to study Sanskrit. Then there will be other recitation sessions, Parayana sessions, other Vedanta classes which are mandatory. There will be Aarti in the evening, Satsang that you have to attend, and periodically there will be tests. So one may wonder, I thought I have no other karmas, no other obligations. Having come to Vedanta, having taken karma sannyasa, I have more duties. So that is true, because now I have to make most use of my time. And that is what is meant by Shastrataha and Acharyataha. Vicharam kuryat. One should do this thinking based on scriptures and teacher. And we saw the examples from Ishavasya Upanishad, 6th mantra and 8th mantra. Acharya took few words, but the gist of that is that I have to constantly remember that I am in all are in me. I am that consciousness which does not have gross body, subtle body or causal body. So devoid of gross, subtle and causal body is the Tvam-pada Lakshyartha. And I am in all are in me is talking about my all-pervasive nature as existence and consciousness, but as infinite existence and infinite consciousness. And then we saw one example from 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where Bhagavan Shri Krishna has said that Vasudeva is my vibhuti, Ashwatha among vrikshas is my vibhuti. So a sadhaka in his nididhyasanam should think this way, that this entire creation is my vibhuti. All the glorious things are mine, my expressions, and also non-glorious. But at least I should dwell in this way, that I am not limited to this physical body. And I had given the example of Kaivalya Upanishad also. That also we saw. Mayyeva sakalam jatam, mayi sarvam pratishthitam, mayi sarvam layam yati, tad brahmadvayam asmyaham, anuraniyan, ahameva tadvat, mahanaham, vishwamaham, vichitram. I am this entire world of varieties of names and forms. I am the smallest and I am the biggest. In this way, not mere parrot-like repeating or not doing a japa of these things, but I should be thoroughly convinced of this idea through reasoning, that how am I all-pervading? How am I beyond three bodies? So that will be explained a little bit more again in this chapter. Now, there is some question raised on this idea that was taught from Bhagavad Gita about that I am in the body of Vrishninam Vasudevosmi. I am also expressing in Vasudeva and expressing in Ashwatha Vriksha, etc. That for Bhagavan Shri Krishna, this Sama Atma Darshanam, that I am same in all, is befitting, is appropriate. Why? Because Paramatma or realized masters, for them, they do not have mama and aham abhimana in their own upadhi. That I am this physical body, I am this sense organs or mind, such kind of idea they do not have in their conditionings. But a mumukshu, a seeker who is still on his way, he still has enough identification. So for that person to think that I am all pervading, I am in all are in me, the whole world is my expression, all these things, they may sound impractical or illogical. And therefore, there is a contradiction in what I am and what I am supposed to think. There is a lot of difference. So now, the next shloka is the answer to that objection. Yatha hyanya sharireshu mamahanta na cheshyate अस्मिंश्चापि तथा देहे धीसाक्षित्वा विशेषतः. This is shloka number 12. This is a most beautiful teaching. These are the secret gems that are given here, okay, which otherwise we don't get to study. See what is said. Just as in other bodies, yatha hi anya shariresu, in the bodies of other people, in them, mama ahanta na cha ishyate. Mamata and ahanta, both you can take. Mama bhava and aham bhava. In other bodies, like in dog, cat, other man, woman, in Devata Sharira, Gandharva Sharira, I don't have Mama Bhava and Aham Bhava. Tatha, in the same way, Asmin Dehe Cha, in this body also, actually, this is also not mine. No Mama and no Aham Bhava. Why? The answer is given, Dhi Sakshitva Visheshatah. Because Avisheshata means there is no difference. No difference in what? That both of them, whether my body or any other body, gross my mind, body means you have to take all bodies. My mind or anybody else's mind. My Sthula Sharira or other Sthula Sharira. My Sukshma Sharira or other Sukshma Sharira. Equally, Karana Sharira also. They all are the thought modifications at the level of intellect. Now this is reasoning. Logically it is explained how there is no difference between the Panch Mahabhutas existing here, which I claim as either myself or mine, I or mine, and the same Panch Mahabhuta existing as somebody else's body, because both of them are buddhi vritti illumined by same sakshi. So buddhi, dhi means buddhi vritti, which is taking the form of these bodies. Deha akara parinata buddhi sakshitva avisheshat. So they are vrittis. Sukshma Sharira is also known. So it is also a form of a vritti. And that vritti is illumined by Sakshi again. So they all are Sakshi Bhasya. Either directly Sakshi Bhasya or through Pramata they are illumined. But Sakshi illumines all bodies, all minds. just as it illumines my body and mind, others' body and mind. So really speaking, there is no such thing called my body and my mind. This aspect is same. And otherwise also we can just think simply that everything is Pancha Mahabhuta. Only in some Pancha Mahabhuta I have created the identity that these Pancha Mahabhutas are mine and the others are not mine. Then somebody may say that what you are seeing, logically you may say this, that everything is just gathering of 5 elements. But in Vyavahara, we don't see it like that. Like I don't go to anybody's house and say this is my house. Why? Because this is also Pancha Mahabhuta house, that is also Pancha Mahabhuta house. I don't go in anybody's car thinking that that is also my car, this is also my car. So how do you say that there is no difference? It is only Buddhi Vritti. The fact is, all are illumined by Sakshi. Therefore, what is said is they all are Drishya. So, Drishyatva is same. And whatever is Drishya is not me. Whatever is Drishya is not me, is different from me. So wherever there is Drishyatvam, Savikaratvam, Agamapayitvam. Savikaratvam means subject to modification. Agamapayitvam means where there is arrival and departure. Bhautikatvam, whatever is made up of 5 grossified or ungrossified elements, all of that is Drishya. And whatever is Drishya is different from the Drashta Sakshi. So, Mama Aham Abhimana is there because I feel I have earned something through my karma. The house that I live in is earned through karma. The family that I have is also earned through karma. Our karmas have given that family to us. The physical body is also earned through karma. And the mind that we have and the impressions that are there in that mind, also all of that is earned through karma. So everything is product of karma. It is karma karyam. And therefore, wherever I have the ownership in karma, there I will have tadatmya. Where I don't have ownership of karma, kartrutva buddhi, then I will not have bhoktritva buddhi in the form of that I possess something. Something should belong to me. This idea will not remain. It will go only along with kartrutva. So when it is said, take karma sannyasa only does not mean I drop the karmas. Karma sannyasa means I have to let go of the idea of what is earned through karmas and the importance of karma. Instead, I should start thinking of jnanam. So, in the teaching, this switch is given in here in Upadesha Sahasri almost instantly. That up to 7th shloka it is said, one is engaged in karma, then he takes karma sannyasa, and from 9th shloka onwards, he is dwelling that I am Brahma, I am all pervading Satchidananda Brahma. But in practical life, it may take time, because those karma sanskaras don't go that easily. The idea that I am possessing something, I own something. So, for that alone it was said that earlier one should do lot of karma, upasana for chitta shuddhi. And having done that, when one is ready, then what is said here, that importance of karma also will drop. And therefore, when one is closely looking at Shastra with the help of teacher, then what is said in Shastra as true for Atma or Brahma should become my truth. So if it is said Atma is beyond 3 bodies, so I should understand I am beyond 3 bodies. If it is said Brahman is Jagat Karanam, it is Nimitta Karanam, it is Upadana Karanam, Vivarta Upadanam, so I should understand I am that Abhinna Nimitta Vivarta Upadana Karanam. Without undergoing modification in my presence, the whole universe appears. And in this, I should have conviction, I should not have any doubts. Up to that point, my Shravanam and Mananam should happen. Then this kind of Nididhyasanam can be done. Some other masters, they explain Nididhyasanam, because this topic comes in Brahadaranyaka Upanishad, Atma va are द्रष्टव्यो द्रष्टव्यः श्रोतव्यो मंतव्यो निदिध्यासितव्यः. So drashtavya meaning is Atma should be known. It is darshana yogya, darshana arha, darshana yogya. Shrotavya means you should listen about Atma, Upanishad Purusha. So from Upanishad you should listen about what is Atma, what is Brahma. Then Mananam is Tarkataha Mananam. Mananam should be done with logic. So, like if it is said, why am I not this body, gross body, physical body? So it is said it is Anna Karyam. Whatever is Anna Karyam is Anatma. Deha Anatma Anna Karyatvat Varchaskavat. Body is only modification of food. Therefore, it is not Atma, or body is not Atma because it is modification of food. Just like the fecal matter that is rejected by the body, it is also modification of food. Yes, it is not Atma. I never say that is me. So in the same way, this physical body also is modification of food, and I cannot claim it is me. So this is called reasoning. In the same way, Jagrat Jagat is Mithya, Drishyatvat, Swapnavat. The waking world is Mithya, like Swapna or like Rajju Sarpavat, Pratibhasik Padartha. And if you say it is like swapna, so you can give the hetu drishyatvat, because it is experienced. It is an object of experience, therefore it is mithya. If you say it is rajju sarpavat, so then the hetu will be that it is appearing there where it is not existing in 3 periods of time. Pratipannopadhau atyantavahava pratiyogitvam mithyatvam. What is mithya there? It is appearing in that known locus where it is not there in 3 periods of time. Like snake is appearing in rope. The rope's existence is known. When we recognize the illusory snake, rope's existence is known. Rope is not known. That's why there is illusion. So that is called pratipanno upadhau. In the locus of the known existence, where there is absolute non-existence of the snake. Atyantavahava pratiyogitvam. This is called mithyatvam. So the waking world is appearing there in that Brahman where there is absolute non-existence of the world. And in this way it is said it is mithya. So this is called mananam, logically establishing. Then what is nididhyasanam? So the masters, they say nididhyasanam, one is how it is given here in Upadeshahasri or in places like Viveka Chudamani, in Hastamalaka Stotram, Swaswarupanusandhanashtakam, in Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Sara Sangraha, or in Upadeshahasri we saw 10th chapter, Drishishwarupam Gaganopamam Param Sakrit Vibhatam Tvajamekam Aksharam. So all those are the shlokas which help me on dwelling on the truth, Nirvana Shatakam, etc. But in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Nididhyasanam is not translated as meditation. Nididhyasanam is, in Upanishad itself, Nididhyasanam, in the next mantra it is given, is Jnatva. Shrutva Matya Jnatva. Like that it is given. So by Shravanam, Mananam and knowledge. So Nididhyasanam is translated as knowledge. And what is meant by that knowledge is that the Shravanam Mananam should happen to such an extent that I don't have to put forth any external effort for Nididhyasanam. Nididhyasanam should be my natural outcome. The mantra says, Maitreyi Atmano va are darshanena shravanena matya vijnanena idagam sarvam viditam. This is just after Atmava are drashtavya, shrotavyo, mantavyo, nididhyasthavyo. So darshanena, shravanena, matya, vijnanena. So nididhyasanam is translated as vijnanam. And that means the knowledge should be effortless. And this is actually meant by Vastu Tantra. When I have to put forth effort, it is Purusha Tantra only. Like if there is, let's say, rain outside and there is sound of the raindrops, do I have to put forth any effort to hear that sound? Or I hear it no matter what? If there is thunder, if there is lightning, you don't have to put forth effort to know it. The moment your mind is there, sense organs are available, knowledge will take place. Like that, if I have done thorough Shravanam and Mananam for a long time, then invariably knowledge must take place and I should constantly think I am Brahman, effortlessly. This is what is understood as Nididhyasanam. So in this way, I should dwell on the Shastra. That is what is expected from all the seekers. And this will happen gradually over a period of time. Then that Sama Atma Darshanam, which was objected by some Purva Pakshi or Sadhaka, then how will this happen? So it will happen because it is Drishya only. My body and my mind is also Drishya and it is Mithya like anybody else's. So why I should have so much importance and aham buddhi in one particular set of gross body, subtle body, causal body? In this way, this shloka is explained. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om.